Hey guys, Justin here with JHart Modelworks. The time has come. The Challenger build is over. It is time for the buddy build with Chris from CD Scale Models. We are doing the Meng Ford GT40s in 1/24th scale, not the big 1/12 scale kit. And my understanding is that this is not a shrink down of the big 1/12 scale kit. This is a brand new tooling from what I understand. Don't know a lot about this kit. I've never built a Meng kit, so I don't really know what to expect from that. I have not seen very many builds of this. I've seen that one person has built it and said that he had some fit issues with it. And then I've had like a couple other people that have said, oh, it's perfect, it's a great build, and they had no issues at all. So I don't really know what to expect. Anyhow, I have rambled for quite some time. So let's go ahead and get this switched around and take a look at what's inside the box. Alright guys, let's go ahead and open this box to see what we've got inside. One, two, three, four, 5 bags of plastic. Each sprue is individually wrapped. We have our front portion of our body and our tires, the back portion of the body and our poly caps. Oh, that was flimsy. Instructions, some decals, photo etch, seatbelt material, window masks, and some special decals sent to me from Chris. These are not going to be in yours, but he sent me some decals for the fire extinguisher. Thank you, buddy. Alright, let's start with all the paper stuff. We have decals for all of our various paint schemes. I'm not going to be using most of these. I'm going to be using this section right here, which is the gauges. They're not bad. There is a lot of them. There's some Goodyear decals. I've never had real good luck with tire decals, but we'll see what happens. I may have a photo etch template I can use to just spray the Goodyear. Oh, we'll see. I can't remember what all I've got. I may have one for Goodyear. We'll see. But yeah, decals look pretty good. We have window masks. There are a lot of clear parts, and almost all of them have to be masked. They are die cut, so that's a plus. There's some seatbelt material. It's like sticky back felt type stuff, but they only give you enough seatbelt material for one seatbelt. If there's enough spare in there, I guess you could probably cut another one, but they don't give you the photo etch for any more than one seatbelt. Well, it is nice that they did the photo etch for this back grille. That is a very nice touch, but we will probably use some aftermarket decal photo etch for our seatbelt. We have an advertisement of some sort, which honestly I couldn't care less about. We have our instructions, which are a book, quite literally a book. Suggested tools. Decals are in color. That's nice. There are a lot of large components in here that have to be painted multiple colors. So it's going to be a lot of masking and spraying, or a lot of brush painting. For instance, the the rear suspension arms, they're painted red and black and silver, and that's all one big part. Valve covers are part of the intake manifold. This will be interesting. There's our interior. Body fitment. Some paint callouts. They do callouts for, it looks like, AK and accretion. I've never even heard of that. So for the most part, you're going to have to go by the names. They're pretty basic though. Like gloss green, gloss red, gloss white. There's no like real crazy colors in here. And you know, we all know that I'll ignore them anyhow and just paint them however I want. But they do give you 3 paint color schemes and parts callouts. Kind of an inventory for the box. That takes care of the paper. Alright, we have our body here. Pretty clean. Panel lines are really shallow. We're going to need to rescribe those. You can see our mold lines running right through. That's very interesting places to put some mold lines in. Right along that fender, it runs all the way around the front. Comes right up through here. That'll be fun to clean up. Center support in here. We have the rear clamshell for the engine bay. It's not bad. Again, you can see the mold lines. They do not look to be like real crazy, but should be fairly easy to clean up. That is very fragile, so when you're building it, be careful with that. Next we have our chassis tub, as well as the luggage containers. These were not some kind of an air filter. For Le Mans, one of the rules was you had to have a certain amount of luggage space in the vehicle, so they added these containers in the back and had luggage shaped just for the exact size that they had to have in order to qualify. And it fit right into those containers. Front sway bar is molded on. The interior tub. There's definitely some detail painting to be done in there. This is a rear engine cover. This thing goes up
inside this. And then these hook onto these little round bits on the chassis to allow the clamshell to go up and down. Now, from what I've seen, the fitment on this for the body is not great. Everything has to be put down absolutely perfect. It has to be pushed all the way in. Any gaps will cause the fitment to the whole rear end just won't fit. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. Speaking of the interior, we have some seats. About 50 million grommets in there. We also have the air intakes, which that's probably one of the most obnoxious places to put a sprue point, so you're going to have to sand that clean. There's also mold seam running right through the center. It's a little disappointing. Should be easy enough to clean up. A whole lot of chassis and suspension components. The rear firewall. Our door cards, which are really basic, because race car. Our front of our hood, which one of the designs, I want to say it's the gold one, has you cut this out. I may consider cutting that center piece out anyhow, even though I'm going with a whole different color. But trying to mask around that is going to be an absolute nightmare. We'll see. We'll see what happens with it. We have our dashboard. And we have the top of the dashboard. Nice. Bunch of chassis and frame parts. Steering linkage. What I have not seen are mirrors, so I may be 3D printing some mirrors. Chassis and suspension components. That's the radiator. Got some wheels in here, and the engine, which the carburetor sits inside of a tub, which I don't really care for. The pulleys, the alternator, all one piece. The belt, that's going to have to be detail painted, and that's going to be a pain. Transmission components, some of the exhaust. Some parts I don't even know what they are. There's our intake manifold, and our valve covers are all one piece. If you try and cut these valve covers off, you lose the locating points that locate the intake manifold onto the heads. And the heads glue into this, not the block. The knockoffs for our wheels. Brakes are all one part. There's our block with the starter molded in, and there's now the upside, nope, it's hollow. So if you try to basically cut away at that to round this off and give it some more shape, you're going to end up cutting into a hole into it. Spin heads, there's the heads. Some more of the exhaust. The exhaust is in like 3 or 4 pieces. These connect up to the engine. And then this connects up with this. and then they connect up to these. It's very complicated how the exhaust works. My understanding is that you need to do it exactly in order too. So, clear parts. Very clear. There is no distortion in that glass at all. Rear glass looks good. Even the side windows look pretty decent. There are a lot of clear parts, and a lot of them have to be masked off and sprayed. So these are going to go right back into this bag here, so we don't get anything scratched. So they say, no, you've opened us. Pandora's box. We will not go back in. There's more than one way to skin that cat. That's going to leave us with the tires, which there is no branding on the tires. That's what they give you decals for. Some skinny fronts and some fat rears. Tread is pretty decent on them. There's a seam right through the center of them, so you're going to want to sand that up. Easy to clean up. And of course there are some polycaps, which, you know, what can you say about polycaps other than they're polycaps?
Alright guys, so that is going to be a wrap for the unboxing. Like I said, this is going to be a buddy build with Chris from CD Scale Models. When I do buddy builds, my attention is on building with my buddy. Having fun, and send pictures, videos, call each other up, texts constantly. My attention, I do not want to focus my attention on editing, on trying to make sure that I'm still in shot. Did I get that in the footage? You know, I don't want to spend, you know, all week editing a video and doing voiceover and all that. So these will not be a build series. This is going to be just an update series, weekly updates showing you where I'm at, what we got going on, any cool things that we may or may not have done, any problems that we run into, because I have heard there are some issues with this kit. I have since watched a couple of people's build videos. I've actually watched about 4, maybe 5 build series on this. Almost all of them have the same issue. The body fits very tightly on the front end. They have problems getting it to fit around the tow hooks and the radiator. The body also does not sit flush. The upper front portion of the body does not always sit flush against that bottom chassis, so you end up with a gap. And then the rear clamshell does not want to close all the way down. It hits on things and there's issues getting that mechanism to sit right. Most of these, from what I understand, have to do with the tolerances on this kit being ridiculously tight. The tolerances on this kit, from what I understand, are like Bandai Star Wars kits. There's no room in them. Most of these parts can be, like the Star Wars kits from Bandai, you don't need glue. You literally can just press everything together. It's not a click to fit. You know, it's not a snap together kit, but the tolerances are to a point where you just push the parts together and they hold. My understanding is the tolerances on this are very similar. This is not a CA glue kit. CA glue is too thick. It's going to push the parts out of alignment. Everything I've seen shows that you need to use Tamiya extra thin for everything, and everything has to be pushed very much, like all the way into position. You cannot leave any slop at all, or things just won't fit together. And from what I've seen with some guys, even if you get everything right, some of the bodies still may not fit together. So we're going to see what happens. We're going to do what we can, try to address the things that we can address. It also looks like it's going to be a kit that's going to punish you for trying to modify it. We're going to try and modify it anyhow. I'm at the very least going to try to wire up the plugs, and I want to change those valve covers out for something special. I don't know how I'm going to pull that off because the valve covers contain locating points for other parts that are necessary to get lined up right to get the exhaust to fit properly. So this is going to be interesting. We will see what we're going to do though. Color schemes. Which of the color schemes am I going to pick? Am I going to go with Ken Miles? Absolutely not. Every build that I have seen on YouTube, on Facebook, every single build of this car that I have seen has been the Ken Miles theme. It's overdone. Everyone has done it. I'm also not going to build the other two themes either. Oh, it's the 66 Le Mans cars. You've got to build one. No, I really don't. I have picked some pretty cool colors that I think are going to be awesome together. I've been looking at some color choices. I think I may have settled on a Lamborghini Verde Hermes, which is a green that's got like a gold pearl to it. And normally with a green, I will go with like gold stripes or copper, but with that gold pearl in that green, I want to do something very, I don't want to go gold. I think the gold will just blend in with that gold pearl. So I think I'm going to go with the Ford GT. The modern Ford GT has a color called liquid gray metallic pearl. I may use this or a gunmetal. This is very much in line with the steel that I used on, not the magnesium, this looks a lot more in line with the steel that I used on the Viper build. This is supposed to have a metallic pearl in it. I have not seen a lot of metallic in my test spray. It doesn't need a lot of metallic. That green has a ridiculous amount of pearl in it. It is an absolutely gorgeous color. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not, but that is basically what we are going to be looking at. So you can see it's got that nice deep rich green, and then where the light hits it, it just picks up that sparkly gold color. So I thought that would be something very, very unique and very different. I thought about doing red. I do a lot of red, I do a lot of blue, so I wanted to stay away from red and blue. I just finished doing a purple. I have orange already planned out. The very next build after this buddy build, I think that's where I'm going with that. So I don't want to use orange. Do 2 orange builds in a row. So I'm looking at green, and I think I've got a really cool color combo here. So that's going to wrap this one up. Thanks for hanging out with me and checking out what's in the box, and I will catch you guys on the next one.